Hello, gorgeous lady, and welcome back to another incredible episode of The Subconscious Expert. Now, today I am going to be diving into a bit of a topic that may challenge you. It might confront some of the patterns that you have been playing into over the past couple of months, e.g. 2024, and more importantly, what I really want this podcast to do is to maybe open your eyes a little bit as to why things might not have clicked in your business this year, and actually what you need to do to ensure that 2025, or whatever year you're listening to this, or whatever month, looks completely different. Now, I'm gonna be a bit spicy in this one. You may feel a little bit uncomfortable. I may call you out on a few things, but honestly, sometimes you need to hear the hard truth. And I certainly do myself as well, because if you keep operating in the same way you did this year, 2025 is going to look exactly the same. And I know if you're listening to this podcast, you've got big, beautiful, juicy goals, whatever they are for you. If you don't change the way you're operating right now, none of that is going to happen. And what I want to do today is I want to call out some of the patterns that are keeping you stuck. And we're going to dive into a bit of neuroscience around change. We're going to have a look at the decision that you're ready to grow and make sure that your subconscious, most importantly, is fully on board with those plans, because we are nearing the end of the year and it has come round very, very quickly, as we know. And I don't want you to set these huge, big goals and big dreams, whether it's for Q1, whether it's for the rest of the year of next year, and just end up in the same patterns again and again and again. Because quite frankly, you need both the strategy and subconscious alignment if you're going to make 2025 the breakthrough year you know it can be. And I really want you to set yourself up for success now, rather than waiting for January, rather than waiting for the motivation, rather than waiting to sit down and map it all out again, those big dreams, and then they never go anywhere. I want to look at it now. So we're going to have a little bit of honesty to start the podcast, and we're going to have a look at why you potentially might be repeating the same patterns. So we're going to have a real look. We're going to get really real about where you are right now. And I want you to have a look at your business. Really, really, really look at your business, because you have most definitely been working hard. You have most definitely been pushing through. You've maybe been doing all the quote unquote right things. But here's the question I want to ask you to dive in. Have you been operating the same way you did last year? Are you showing up in your business in the same way you were 6 months ago? The same habits, the same mindset, maybe the same strategies. Now, if you are currently stuck at the same income level, or struggling to get clients, or feel like you're spinning your wheels, or hustling because you feel that that's the only way to get to the next level, it's because something isn't working. And that is not going to magically shift unless you consciously change the way you're showing up. And that feels sometimes hard to look at. And that's why a lot of my clients feel very uncomfortable when they come into my world, because we really have to be honest with what's going on. And what I see time and time again with incredible entrepreneurs is they have great intentions. They set really big goals for themselves. They write them down. They play it out in their visualizations. They're doing all the things. But when it comes to taking the action, the daily action, the micro action needed to reach those goals, they find themselves slipping back into old habits, whether that's hesitation, whether that's overthinking, whether that's procrastination, whether that's overwhelm, whether that's comparison, whatever that is, that you slip back into it. You think you're moving forwards because you're busy, but what are you busy with? Are you busy creating content but avoiding selling? Are you busy working on your business rather than, really understanding what you need to take it to that next level, the higher level clients, the revenue generating tasks? What's that looking like? And I really want you to have a look at some of the patterns right now that are going on in your life, probably, I would say, because I say to all my clients, everything is a domino effect. How we do one thing is how we do everything. So you probably will see patterns in your day-to-day, the way you will see patterns in how you show up for your business. So what I want to do to start off with, now we've kind of had a little bit of a look and a little bit of a deep dive and got a little bit uncomfortable, I want to actually talk about patterns, because it's really, really important that you know the patterns that are holding you back right now. Now, if you have ever noticed yourself repeating the same actions or the same thoughts or the same reactions, and you're seeing yourself create the same results year after year, it's probably because of subconscious patterning. Now, this is an NLP technique that we use, and we define these patterns, the patterns that you have, the patterns that you play, as real deeply ingrained habits. They're really, really deeply ingrained habits and beliefs and behaviors that really influence how you operate day to day. And really, to be honest, they are like invisible scripts, like back of your mind, invisible scripts that are running in the background. And they are guiding your daily life. They are guiding your daily habits. They are dialing your daily, put my teeth back in. They are guiding your daily business behaviors without you realizing it. And this is why you can go 3 months, 4 months, 6 months down the line of a year, and you look back and you're like, oh, wow, okay, like I'm still in the same position as I was back then. I'm still repeating the same things that I am so sick of repeating back then. And it's because these patterns are familiar. Now, why do we even have patterns? It actually all goes back to how our subconscious mind is designed. So you're not doing anything wrong, and you are not the only person who is going through this, because it is how our subconscious mind is designed. Now, our brain is wired to conserve energy. Really conserve the energy and keep us safe, as I talk about in every goddamn podcast I put out. Now, what that means, especially with conserving energy, is your subconscious will build shortcuts. And it will build these mental routines that help us really respond quickly and respond with absolute minimal effort. And this is why one-to-one work with me always feels uncomfortable and like work, because we are changing these quick, minimal effort patterns. Now, every time you are repeating a behavior, the subconscious, what it does is it sees it as something that's working for us. So when it sees that it's working for us, even though these patterns are not, it will strengthen that pathway. And it's true even if the pattern no longer serves you, like procrastinating on important tasks or holding you back from making the big, bold moves in your business, or avoiding necessary but uncomfortable conversations. All of those things, it will tie into a pattern where you can respond quickly, and it will be minimal effort, and it will take you down that path instead. Because we use patterns as safety mechanisms. Patterns are there to literally keep you safe. They act as a comfort zone. They're a familiar space, because your brain is perceiving that it is safe because it's predictable. So if you've got a couple of predictable patterns that you are currently spinning in your life and in your business, it's going to keep doing those. It will continue to do those because it is the easiest route. But here's the thing. if these patterns have kept you stagnant or have absolutely stopped you from growing, staying in them means that you will continue to see the same results again and again and again and again. And your brain will probably resist change because in its logic, change is uncertain. Change is scary, and therefore it's a risk. It's an absolute risk. Now, when you start to notice your patterns, when we start to become aware of your patterns, we can start to change them. And that's where the techniques that I use inside the membership with my one-to-ones come into play, because when you can identify the root of the patterns, we can bring awareness to the subconscious mind's reasons for keeping you in them. Like, what are the reasons for keeping you in the pattern? So, for example, if someone had a pattern of avoiding selling, it might be because of your subconscious fear of rejection. So you unknowingly will prioritize anything over selling because that is safety over growth. And actually, by recognizing the pattern, we can then start to have a look at the limiting belief within the pattern. We can start to have a look around the emotions and the part that's keeping you in the pattern. Then we can start to reframe it. And we want to build a new pattern, a better serving pattern, as I call them, or strategy, and really build this new supportive pathway. Now, this isn't me saying in 2025 you have to change every goddamn pattern that's going, but the more you are aware of the strongest patterns that are really holding you in this continuous loop in your business, the better, and we can start to work through them. And knowing the subconscious root of the patterns is really, really important. That's kind of where it gets a little bit interesting, because the behaviors, whether it's the hesitation, whether it's procrastination, whether it's second guessing, they're not just random habits. Like, you're not sitting there being like, yeah, can't wait to procrastinate today, guys. Oh my God, I cannot wait to second guess myself today in business. I am ready. Like, you are not showing up to your business like that. Like, they are not random habits. They're rooted in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious is programmed to keep you safe, which means you have programmed yourself to keep you in whatever feels familiar, even if familiar is not serving your growth. We are wired for survival. We are not wired to thrive in business. So the brain is going to protect you from what it perceives to be a threat. So when you're setting a big goal in 2025 and you're like, I'm going to scale to 30K months, or I'm going to raise my prices, or I'm going to speak to a high caliber of client, if you haven't done that before, or you haven't got a pathway set up to allow your subconscious mind to see how you're going to get there and then have beliefs underneath it that are going to support it, your subconscious freaks out. Your mind sees it as a risk because it's unknown, because it's unfamiliar. And this is where the disconnect happens. I have so many clients get so frustrated because they're like, I have put this on my list to do time and time again. Why can I not do it? I don't understand. Like, this isn't me. This isn't who I am. This isn't how I am. And I'm like, it's just your subconscious trying to protect you from the danger, that unknown success. And those sneaky behaviors have kept you safe for the whole of 2024. And by God, they are not going to do it again in 2025. Not while I'm around. And no, thank you. Now, whether it's procrastination, whether you know that you need to launch, but you've spent hours perfecting your website instead, rather than selling or putting the launch plan together, whether you're overthinking, you maybe have an idea for a higher ticket offer, but you spend absolutely weeks on end doubting yourself. What if no one buys? What if it's not good enough? Whether you're in hesitation, you're on the literal verge of raising your prices, but you think, maybe I should wait until I've worked with X amount of clients until I do that, or maybe I'm quite not ready for that yet. All of these behaviors, all of these patterns are your subconscious saying, wait, no, please, this feels too risky, come back to the safe side, please come back. So we really need to understand your patterns, which is more from a behavioral point of view. And when we're looking at patterns, actually, it's really good because a lot of your patterns will be external. They will be behaviors, which is so much easier to see 9 times out of 10 when you're physically there in your business. Sometimes I very much call my clients out on their patterns because sometimes you don't see them from a behavioral point of view. But actually, when we know from a behavioral point of view, you can start to understand what's going on from a subconscious point of view, and we start to work through that. Now, this is where neuroscience comes in, because I have spoke about this a lot on the podcast, the reticular activated system, which I'll call the RAS for the rest of the podcast because nobody wants to keep saying that. But we have the RAS in our brain, and it acts as a filter for the information that your brain receives. There's too much information coming up in one time for us, and we have to have the RAS to filter through what information we want to take in. And it shows you more of what you believe to be true. And this is why the RAS, I speak about it all the bloody time, can be our absolute triumph, best friend, love of our life, but it can equally be our absolute worst enemy, keeping us in this stagnation. So if your subconscious right now has been conditioned to believe that growth is unsafe, or making money is hard, or you're not good enough, or you're not worthy of this success, your brain is going to filter out opportunities to prove that to be true. It won't show you the good bits. In fact, 9 times out of 10, the good bits have been staring you in the freaking face for so long, but your reticular activated system is like, no, it wouldn't even pick it up. It wouldn't even pick it up because it's keeping you in your comfort zone. And that's why you'll keep repeating the same patterns over and over again unless you consciously rewire your brain. This is why change can feel so hard. This is why people put off working with me. There has been so many times where they're like, I know that this is the next step for me, but it feels too scary to even reach out to you. Or they've reached out to me and then vanished into thin air, and then they'll come back when they're ready. But it's because it feels hard. And like we said, with your subconscious, it works with that path of least resistance. It needs to be very, very easy for it because of the cognitive load. Your subconscious mind has been programmed over years and years and years and years to keep you in a state of familiarity. And actually, without actively reprogramming that, you will keep slipping back into the same behaviors. I can imagine that you have the same behaviors as you did 10 years ago, and you've been saying one day, and that's okay. But I just want you to know that it doesn't have to be that way. And that's why I really wanted us to have a time where we looked at your business and looked at your patterns inside your business to understand the reasons why you are not where you are right now. Because there's nothing fucking wrong with you. There is not. And it's not because you're not worthy, and it's not because you're not good enough, and it is not because you are not deserving. It is none of those things. I have goosebumps right now because I know that. I know that it is purely because your subconscious is trying to keep you safe from beliefs that you've had since you were young. And that is pulling you into behaviors that are not serving your business. The amount of times that I've had people come back to me and go, it's still not working, and I literally haven't seen that person sell anything, talk about anything, or actually talk about their services, and just not in a way that you're not making any sense to anyone. It's all sabotage from your subconscious. It is because strategy is so black and white. Do this, say that, sort this, get the result. And if you've been in a group course or a mastermind where other people are using the exact same strategies and you're currently not getting the results that they are, it is probably because of your subconscious mind. And I know that's really, really hard to hear, but the good thing about it is that we can do something about it. I said in a piece of content probably last year, like, the problem is you, but you are also the solution. How powerful is that? And this isn't me like berating you right now. Like, this is me saying we can do something about it. Like, we can actually do something about it. So it's not bad habits. It's not that you aren't good enough. It's not that you're not clever. It's not that you can't do it. Your brain is literally just keeping you safe. And this is why you need more than just a business strategy. You need to get your subconscious on board with those big, bold, audacious goals, or else no matter how good your plan is, you will keep sabotaging yourself. You will, again and again and again. Now, what I did want to talk about during this podcast, tying in the subconscious with where you are going next year, is we need a strategic plan, for sure. We need an intentional strategic plan. I've talked about it all year, and I've talked about how much it's helped me all year. But what we also need is subconscious alignment. Really, really, really need to have both in tandem. Because you can have the most incredible strategy in the world. You can have a mapped out sales funnel. You can plan your launches. You can set your revenue goals for 2025. But if your subconscious mind isn't aligned with those goals, you are going to sabotage your own success every single time, every single day. Why? Like I've said the whole podcast, your subconscious sees growth as a threat. It's designed to keep you safe in what isn't familiar. So we need a strategic plan that's clear, that's actionable, that's aligned with your goals, and you need to reprogram your subconscious so it supports that plan rather than fighting it. You have written. You have so many plans. You have sat down and mapped it all out on a whiteboard. You've done a full calendar in your ClickUp. You've got it on a Trello board. Like, you have got a plan everywhere. 100 of them. 100 notebooks. 100 amounts of times that you're going to do something, and it gets to Thursday and you stopped freaking doing it. Why? Because your subconscious is fighting it. It's fighting the plan. Now, when you give your brain clarity, so when we create a strategic plan, and this is why I do believe that the strategy and the clear strategy is important, but more importantly is your subconscious to support it. But when we have that clear plan that's got where we've broken down your goals, where we've got the actionable steps, when we've got that clear vision, what happens is you take away some of the uncertainty that's really triggering your subconscious to resist it. And we've given your brain a roadmap. And when we do that, it makes it so much easier for your subconscious to follow. This is why I say, if you're winging it right now, if you don't have things mapped in place, if you don't have launches mapped and you're just literally pulling a masterclass out of your ass on a Wednesday and starting to sell it, and then you don't know what you're upselling it to, whatever you're doing, it is not going to work in the long term. And you can wing it for as long as you freaking like, but you will wing in circles again and again and again, because your subconscious, again, needs the path of least resistance. We need to give something for your subconscious to follow, and then we need to work on your subconscious to be able to support where we're going. This is why I am so driven to get people to be intentional in their business. I've said it time and time again, the amount of things that I've done that have been intentional this year, for maternity leave, for when I've had the baby, like whatever that looks like, my subconscious has gone, oh yeah, we're doing that in January because that's where we're going. Let me do some work on that belief behind that. Perfect. We've got the belief, we've got the clear plan. Let's go. Follow through. Do the thing. Had most of my launches mapped, planned, emails ready, social media done, months and months in advance. Now, I used to be called Last Minute Haydon. So that's really going against how I am and who I was as a person. But it's because I had a plan, a strategy, the path of least resistance, and then I rewired my beliefs to be able to go there. Because even with the best plan in place, if you haven't rewired those old limiting beliefs, you'll still find yourself hesitating, procrastinating, second guessing. So yes, we need to have a look at your subconscious, but we also need to look about the intentionality and the strategy that's clear and actionable and that's aligned with your goals. And then have your subconscious supporting it. We've got a few steps. Here. So I want to leave you with a couple of subconscious reflection prompts. And just take a second to reflect on this past year, or whenever you're listening to it, just reflect on the month or the week or whatever you want to reflect on. And I really want to help you identify where your subconscious has been holding you back, because that is going to be our first step. So first prompt is, what big goals did I set at the beginning of the year that I didn't achieve? I know it feels uncomfortable, it feels hard facing, but I just want us to see. Was it a revenue goal? Was it a launch goal? Was it whatever it was? Was it a health goal? Was it whatever it was? What stopped you from hitting it? What stopped you from hitting it? This is where we get uncomfortable, yes, but we get really freaking clear what we do with it. So I want you to come to these prompts with a very neutral, open, curious mind. I want you to come into these prompts completely in self, all the C's, curious, capable, confident with just having a look. What made me not achieve it this year so I can fucking achieve it next year? Yes, boy, because I'll listen to this freaking podcast and we're ready, right? That's how I want you to feel. So question number 1, what big goals did you set at the beginning of the year that you didn't achieve or that you haven't achieved? Was it a revenue goal, launch goal, and what stopped you from hitting it? Question number 2, what patterns have you repeated this year that kept you stuck? Has it been avoiding selling? Has it been procrastinating on a launch? Has it been doubting your prices? Has it been comparing yourself and going to watch Netflix to numb the soul? What patterns have you repeated again and again and again and again this year that's keeping you stuck? And if you can't see yourself doing them, I would audit your day tomorrow with the patterns that are holding you back. And the moment that you find yourself doing something that doesn't serve you or the business, you go, I'm in a pattern. That's a massive, I've got a full classroom in the subconscious membership called Stop Your Spirals. And I teach the people in the membership how to rewire the pattern. It is so powerful. So many of them have done it and gone, wow, that was so eye-opening to see actually what you've been doing and how you've been doing it, and then change it. Number 3, what tasks or decisions have you been avoiding because they feel too risky? So what tasks or decisions have you been avoiding because they feel too risky? Was it raising your prices? Was it pitching to a higher caliber client? Was it doing podcast outreach? Have a look. And then I want you to ask, what is the worst case scenario your brain is trying to protect you from? Where's your subconscious jumping to from your limiting belief section? What is the worst case scenario that your brain is trying to protect you from? Your parts are trying to protect you there. Have a little look. Last 2. What do you tell yourself when you hesitate to take bold action? So the bold action that would have potentially got you the results that you wanted when you set them at January 2024, what do you tell yourself when you hesitate to take them? So what thoughts is it? Is it I'm not ready? What if no one buys? I'm not good enough? Where is this fear really coming from? Where is it coming from? And then last one, if you could remove the fear from the equation, completely remove the fear, completely remove the limiting beliefs, completely remove the things that are stopping you and the parts, what bold action would you take right now? What is one thing that you would do differently if your subconscious fully trusted your success? What is one thing that you do differently if your subconscious fully trusted in your success? Oh, I'll put these prompts in the show notes so you can go back through them. But if you are sitting there right now and you are feeling this, if these prompts are hitting home and you've maybe realized that you've been playing small, maybe you've been avoiding the risks, maybe you've been stuck in the patterns that aren't serving you, it is time to make a change. And I know 2025 can be different for you. In fact, it will be different for you, but only if you start operating in a new way. In a new way. And it is going to have to be conscious for you, and we're going to have to work at it, but that is what I'm here for. And I will see you on the next episode. Love you lots.